Don't you just love a good one-off, something that does its job and then leaves and you never see it again? There's nothing I love more than a good standalone experience. But I mean, it did sell really well, so one more couldn't hurt. Yeah, that right there. That's a man with Mortal Kombat mythologies in his future. After the launch of Mortal Kombat, it became a bigger hit than anyone working on it could have possibly imagined. They hadn't even entertained the idea of making a sequel until Midway told them to, because it was the next logical step. The arcade version was a huge success, home versions were a huge success, it existed on the Game Boy and no one got mad at them. Why not go all out for a sequel? We've got new characters, including bosses from the last game. We've got a new story. Raiden isn't just a super powered dickhead in this game anymore. It's got everything that you could possibly want from a game that had the gall to combine the words Mortal Kombat and 2. And what better place to start the sequel than at the end of the first game, where it is revealed that Liu Kang is the canon ending of Mortal Kombat 1, banishing Shang Tsung back to Outworld where he must face the wrath of his master Shao Kahn. Shao Kahn is obviously not happy that his plan failed. However, Shang Tsung devises a second plan. What if they were to hold another tournament in Outworld to give themselves home field advantage? And Shao Kahn, he loves this plan, so much so that he restores Shang Tsung's youth and martial arts abilities. Something he probably should have done prior to the previous martial arts tournament. The plan was perfect. It only had one flaw. They don't make the rules for the tournaments. Like, sure, they're allowed to ask Earthrealm to participate in another tournament with the same stakes, but they still won the last tournament, meaning that they're safe for 10 more Mortal Kombat tournaments. There's nothing they can do to make them accept this tournament. Well, that is except for have Baraka and his race of mutants storm into Earthrealm and attack a Shaolin temple just to give them that extra push they needed to accept these terms. They can do that. He can just rip open a portal and send soldiers through to kill people. Look, I'm no realm by realm. I'm no lawyer when it comes to the rules of realms, but that sounds almost like an invasion, like something that they shouldn't be allowed to do as per the terms of the Mortal Kombat tournament. Like, as per the rules of Mortal Kombat, Earthrealm is safe and Outworld cannot mess with it. That seems to be heavily messing with it, especially when it's incentive for them to accept a more dangerous tournament. So why is this allowed? Because we needed a sequel. And that's where the intro ends and the game begins, bringing us to the roster, and by God is it an improvement over Mortal Kombat 1. Not that there was anywhere to go but up, but something as simple as just having Shang Tsung and Reptile playable here is pretty fucking awesome. The other newcomers are Kung Lao, my favorite Mortal Kombat character, because just look at him. You ever seen a better use of pixels on a screen? You haven't. Kung Lao is Liu Kang's friend, and he's a descendant of a Mortal Kombat combatant of legend who was killed by Goro. So Kung Lao comes here to exact revenge for his ancestor. Might be a little late for that because dude, Goro died. Yeah, Liu Kang killed Goro. That's kind of a big thing that happened last time was Goro dying. Liu Kang didn't tell you he killed Goro. Then you have characters like Baraka, who's here because look at him. Does he look like he has anything better to do? Jackson Briggs, who's here to save Sonya, who's captured alongside Kano. You have Shang Tsung, who's back to redeem himself, and he's wearing a do-rag for some reason. You have Reptile, who was Shang Tsung's bodyguard, hiding out during the first tournament. And you have Kitana, who is an assassin working for Shao Kahn. However, there are rumors that she might actually be helping Earthrealm. And investigating these rumors is her twin sister, Melina, who I have nothing to say about. And by technicality, this version of Sub-Zero is also a newcomer because it's confirmed that Sub-Zero died during the first game. So, what's he doing back here? He's looking pretty good for a dead guy, I must say. And as for the returning characters, Johnny Cage, Liu Kang, and Raiden are all here to stop Shao Kahn and avenge their Shaolin brethren, and Scorpion's here because he learned that Sub-Zero was still kicking around, and he can't let that shit slide. Then, in terms of bosses, after one endurance match this time, thank God, even though I can't even get to it anymore, so maybe the joke's on me, you have Kintaro, who is pretty much just this game's Goro, and you have Shao Kahn, who is quite the final boss, I must say. I mean, look at him. He looks like he wants your quarters, and he's gonna fucking take them. Now, maybe it's because I'm just paying attention a bit more. I'm, doing a little more reading up on the lore. But one thing I do like about this roster is I kind of care a lot more than I did with Mortal Kombat 1. Again, it's probably just some bias because not only are there more characters and more things going on, but they had done a better job in actually crafting what they wanted these characters to be, as evident by Raiden's transition from just a dude who was bored and decided to join the tournament and would make a tournament that destroys the world should he win, to someone actually fighting for Earthrealm. But at the end of the day, all of that is just a splash screen while the game is in demo mode, because we're all here for the bloodshed. Yeah, it turns out that just because this game is better, doesn't actually mean that I'm any better. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm worse. So yeah, I'm not good at Mortal Kombat 2. I never said I was good. In fact, the fact that you thought that I was good is more on you than it is on me, because the real issue with this game is that it does not like you. The way that the AI in this game works is that it doesn't react like a human would react. You know, when you're playing a fighting game with your friend and you see that he's shooting a fireball, so you have the time in which you register that it's a fireball to dodge it. The way this game works is it knew that you were going to do a fireball before you got to this fight and already dodged it and also hit you frame perfectly. Go fuck yourself. I'm serious. They will counter you flawlessly. Very regularly. They will just flawlessly, frame perfectly counter whatever you're trying to do. You try to fucking uppercut them, they grab you out of it. You try to jump at them, they grab you out of it somehow. You use a special move, they perfectly avoid it. You're not going to land a projectile in this game. That's just not something that happens against the AI. The only way to win is to get them stuck in some sort of loop, either with sweeps or jump kicks followed by slides. Just find some cheap strategy and repeat that until the AI can't figure out how to get out of it. And then, if by some miracle you manage to beat them, you then have 1 second to input a fatality that is way more complicated than anything from the first game. Yo, this isn't some puny forward, down, forward, high punch anymore. You need to know setups. There is a fatality that is in 2 steps. There are finishers that require you to do other things during the fight. If you finish a fight and you're not at the right range for a fatality, you can't do that fatality because you just don't have enough time to get there and put in the input that I hope you've committed to memory by now. If you've taken out the loan entirely in quarters needed to consistently play this game and then win, even if you put in the input perfectly, it'll still just sometimes not let you do it because you maybe need to do it faster or slower. There's no way of knowing. You'd think that just do it faster because you don't have any time to input the fatalities. You're not going to see the fatalities in this game, which is a shame because the fatalities in this game are way better than Mortal Kombat 1. God, when I say Mortal Kombat 1, y'all know what I mean, right? Fucking, I hate you, NetherRealm. This is the second time y'all have done this. Genuinely, I cannot recommend that you play this game alone. This game is super fun with friends. I mean, it's Mortal Kombat 1, but with way more characters, way more moves, and it's just so much better. It feels better. But alone, my God, I will take Mortal Kombat 1. As much as I hate the 3 endurance matches, at least I can get there in Mortal Kombat 1. At least I can do a fatality in that game. This game kind of just hurts to play when you're alone. It hurts your hands. It hurts your spirit. There is so much footage I wanted to get, thought I got, or lost that I don't have the capacity to get it again because the thought of playing the game alone is like, what am I going to do? Win one fight to get stuck on the second one the entire time? All because I thought I needed more Kung Lao footage? Unless you played this game back in the day and committed every special move, fatality, every unique input to memory, and it just got stuck in there, taking up the space that was supposed to be your daughter's birthday, you will not see a fatality in this game. But if somehow the stars align and you get the input just right, your eyes do not deceive you, that is a friendship, one of the 2 new finishing moves alongside with babalities. These both have certain requirements that you have to meet during the match before you can actually pull them off, and they're just goofy little treats to have in the same game where Baraka was throwing me around for 17 rounds straight. What's weird is, for the longest time I didn't know that friendships were in this game, but I knew about babalities because they were, I guess, more iconic, probably because they were like a rumor and it turned out to be true, maybe something from the first game I don't like fully remember or know. And as funny and cute as babalities are, after this, what's left? And all the friendships are, they're neat jokes. I mean, some are obviously superior to others, but for what they are, kid at the arcade probably doesn't know that that's a thing in the game, so give him a good laugh. But you're not here for that. You're here to see Liu Kang turn into a fucking dragon and eat the dude in half. Hell yeah! This game has some of the best finishers in the series, in my opinion. Some of the best, most iconic finishing moves to grace this franchise. There's way too many to go over like we did in the last video. Way too many to go over like we did last time because that game only had 7 fatalities and this game has 2 per character except for Shang Tsung. He has 3. And now the game's been rated by the ESRB, meaning that nobody should be mad about the violence. Nobody in America anyway. The ESRB, pretty much entirely a North American thing, so the arcade version did not see release in Japan and a few other countries. So for Japan, the arcade version just didn't get a release, at least as far as I know, but it did get the home console versions where they were censored, replaced with green blood. What's weird about it though is the fatalities were still in all black and white, which, if you've already censored the blood, what is it being in black and white change about the fatalities? The game was also completely banned in Germany, all versions of the game being confiscated due to violating the country's penal code. And I bring this up for 2 reasons. 1,
penal code.
And 2, it wasn't actually all versions of the game. Germany managed to get 1 version to slip through the cracks. It was the Game Boy version. And that didn't violate anything? I guess violence is too far, but a dog shit game? That's way worse. Even though Reptile is now a playable character, that does not mean that this game is devoid of secrets. All of which being a bit simpler to get, at least in concept. It's if I decided to boot up the game and get these characters with another person, because I don't want to fight the AI, we could definitely unlock all 3. Well, at least 2 of them. Let's start with an easy one. You have to be on the portal stage, and if you hit an uppercut that causes Dan Forden to pull in and drop a toasty, you press down and start and you'll be warped to Goro's lair, where you'll fight Smoke, a warrior from Mortal Kombat 1. That's just fucking wrong. My best guess is that this line was meant to throw you off, to make you go back and throw some more quarters into Mortal Kombat 1 to try to find Smoke, but he's not in the game. As far as I'm aware, this is his first appearance, unless there's something even I missed. The next one is another pretty simple one. You just have to get 50 wins in 2-player, and once again you'll be warped out, where you'll fight Noob Saibot, the name being from Ed Boon and John Tobias' last names, but backwards. Now this is supposedly a lost warrior from the first game, and I've seen nothing in this game to confirm that, but being 2025, I know that it is supposed to be Sub-Zero from that game. However, I don't know if that's something that happened after, or if that was what was planned from this game. The only reason there's any doubt in my mind is you're going to drop the secret character from Mortal Kombat 1 line on Smoke, who wasn't in Mortal Kombat 1. Yet if this character is supposed to be Sub-Zero, the Sub-Zero that died during the events of Mortal Kombat 1, there's no mention of that anywhere in this game, at least as far as I can tell. But yes, this is Sub-Zero's older brother who was killed by Scorpion and somehow came back. Now for the last secret character, this one, even though I said all three are easy, I don't know why I said that, because this one is one I don't think anyone would have ever gotten at all. You have to get to right before the question mark in the ladder, and then win at only one round using only low kicks, and you will immediately be warped to fight Jade, a reskin of Kitana and Melina, who's immune to projectiles. Oh, and she's also said to be a character from Mortal Kombat 1, meaning that every secret character is said to be from the last game except for the one that, at the very least, would become a character from the first Mortal Kombat tournament. While these fights certainly aren't easy to get, and pretty unlikely at that, I definitely say that the prospect of getting them is easier to grasp once you've had it explained to you. At least for Smoke and Jade. You know, pressing down and start on a specific map after getting a toasty, you can just boot up, like play the game 2-player until you get to that map and just start hitting uppercuts till it happens. It feels possible, unlike Reptile. Same thing with Jade. I mean, it's not easy to get all the low kicks, but once you do, like, that's all you have to do. You don't have to run the game 50 times to get a small little thing to fly across and then win a double flawless at that, and then do a fatality. And Noob Saibot, I mean, he was probably summoned by some 30-year-old dude at the arcade running the set on the kids who definitely were supposed to be in school. Now, many would consider Mortal Kombat 2 to be the best of the classic games, and on a technical level, I agree. It feels really good to control. I love the roster. I love the finishers, friendships, babalities. It's super cool. The only thing holding it back is the absolutely miserable single-player experience. They have the mechanics of a really fun game. The issue is, I hate playing it because it's just not fun to constantly lose against the AI. And I imagine it would be even less fun if you were at an arcade and had to put in a quarter every time. You only got so many, your mom only gave you $5. You're gonna waste them all on Baraka? Which is why, if you get the opportunity to play this with friends, you definitely should. But if you find the opportunity to play it alone, you probably shouldn't, unless you played this game back in the day, or you're really dedicated to like becoming really good at arcade games, or if hard games are just your thing, hard games that are bullshit and cheat, and finding a way to break them is just something that appeals to you, then this single player experience would be right up your alley. I'll stick to playing it with friends. If even, the version I played is on the Midway Arcade Classics, or Treasures, the PS2 version, and if my friends are over and we're like, let's play some Mortal Kombat, we have a lot more options nowadays. Meaning that likely the only way I'll ever play this game again is alone. And I don't like playing it alone. So I did it 5 more times. Because just like last time, this game would see home releases on the Genesis, SNES, Game Gear, Game Boy, and Master System. Because God forbid we learn our lesson. Now, the home consoles, Genesis, SNES, that I get. Mortal Kombat 1 had totally fine versions of those games to play, albeit downgrades. So, you want to do a home release, there's not that much compromise, surprisingly. These make sense, but did we have to go handheld again? And did we have to make a Master System version? Okay, well, like maybe the Game Boy version makes a little bit of sense. I mean, they had to get this into Germany somehow. And the Game Boy was a very popular handheld. And I guess with like the Master System version, if you're making a Game Gear version, you might as well put it on the Master System. The issue is, why would you make it a Game Gear version? Were people really clamoring for, oh, you know what, I love Mortal Kombat 1 on my Game Gear, I want to buy Mortal Kombat 2 on my Game Gear? Like, were there that many kids who had Game Gears and were susceptible to that kind of thing that didn't have a Game Boy? Like, it doesn't make sense to me why we would spend any amount of time doing that. It probably took like a weekend and they did it on accident. But like, why would we bother? Now, I don't have nearly as much to say about the SNES and Genesis versions as I did last time, mostly because everything I would say is exactly the same. It looks worse, it sounds a little bit worse, but these control fine, and make sure you play the Genesis version with a 6-button controller. However, I will say that the AI feels a lot more fair. You know, I was actually getting decently into these. You know, like a few fights up the ladder before I hit the walls, and there was a little bit more time to do fatalities, so You know, honestly, if I were alone and were getting the itch to play classic Mortal Kombat 2, I'd probably play the SNES version. Just because it's a little bit easier and you can actually do the fatalities. That's definitely something a lot more intriguing to me than playing the arcade version. There's really not much to say about these. They're solid ports if it was the 90s and you wanted them at home. Although I will say that them being easier does make them a lot more appealing to me when playing alone. If I'm with people, give me the arcade version. I gotta have the top quality if I'm playing with people. And I know that I set it up, but like, come on. What is there to say about the Game Boy or Game Gear Master System versions of these games? What is there to say? They look like piss, they control like shit, and make me want to throw up. They're terrible. There's no reason to play them, even though I did, albeit for like 5 minutes each. There's nothing I can say to explain better than just looking at them. There's nothing I can add to this to make you understand why this isn't good. You can just look at it. And that's Mortal Kombat 2, a very fun classic fighting game with friends, an infuriating experience when you're alone, but iconic nonetheless. So many series staples were established here. So much of what made Mortal Kombat what it is today really started here. And I think that's why a lot of people consider this the true start of Mortal Kombat. Except for me, because Mortal Kombat has too many starts already. And I think 3 is a perfect number of starts. Thank you for watching to the end of the video. I am rushing through the outro because my camera is about to die. I wanted to structure this video a little bit differently, see how I felt about a video where I got a blue screen. I want to use it. I don't know, something about the script was, I felt like recording it a little bit differently, structuring it a little bit more loose, a little more just me, thinking on my feet. I have a script, but like I'm just kind of going out, all in not one take, but one like recording, instead of having the parts where I filmed it and then the parts where I do voiceover, and I just have it all one. I did that video about games I like because of my dad. I wanted to do something like that again. So let me know how you feel about this compared to, say, the Mortal Kombat 1 video, just in terms of structure, not in terms of quality. I hope this video is of higher quality. I know I promised Metroid Other M. I promise it's coming. It's just that game is taking me a lot longer than I thought it was going to, because honestly, I'm 4 hours in and it has still yet to hook me or give me a good reason to keep playing outside of I'm doing it for a video. But I promise that video is gonna come out probably before Prime 4. But until then, don't be surprised if you get a few more supplementary videos between then. With that being said, I hope you have a great day, a beautiful morning, an awesome night. If it's your birthday, then happy birthday. And I don't remember how to end videos because I'm so used to doing it on a shitty one-liner. Bye-bye.